All right, the bro. It's T, and I'm back with another video. It's on Tony Huge biohacking. I didn't know he turned it into biohacking. It says Tony Huge. I thought it was Tony Huge. Okay, now it's biohacking. Okay, great. So I'm gonna review this video. The strongest muscle building peptide, new 2023 update. The strongest peptide, IGF1. Let's review this video.
Friends of freedom, pioneers of human evolution, this is the IGF1, especially IGF1 LR3 update, November 2023. What have we learned so far about this powerful muscle building hormone? Here's the table of
Muscle building hormone. It could aid depending on what you're doing to build muscle. Now, here's the thing. Again, I'm going to explain this in this video. To gain mass on a myofibrillar, mass, protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. In order to build real muscle, protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. That's how you build mass on a myofibrillar. Now he's saying that this is going to build muscle. Well, if protein has to exceed that breakdown to build mass, then what the fuck do you need this shit for? See what I'm trying to explain to you? Now, but he's going to equate that it's going to build muscle cells. That's totally different.
contents, the order of things I'm going to go in is muscle building, how do we know it works, muscle building, how it actually works, and hypertrophy versus hyperplasia.
Right. Okay, so hypertrophy versus hyperplasia. When you get hypertrophy, there is a type of hyperplasia. These are microscopic. It says in NCBI, I put them in my community section, I posted it, but you have to read through it. There's a section there, it says to make them bigger, if you do get muscle cells, you get these muscle cells, to get them, instead of them being microscopic, to get them bigger, you still need to mass them up. They oversee a certain amount of volume of cytoplasm. They have a nuclear domain, so forth and so on. Anyway, so he says here, muscle growth and repair. Okay, that's separate. And then you have activation of satellite cells. Well, differentiation and fusion. I know that. Signal, conduction. Okay, you have to do a special. You have to create you have to do a special technique to do that. The drug doesn't activate the satellite cells and does all these things. It's something you need to do in the physical world. Yeah.
Side effects, IGF-1 versus IGF-1 LR3, dosages, protocols, and synergistic anabolic pathways. So what to stack it with. All right, first, muscle building with IGF. This muscle right here was built somewhat on...
I'm not saying that this IGF couldn't aid in the repair of muscle, but muscle has to be injured first in order for it to have something to repair. Do you understand me? Otherwise, it will create artificial muscles called sarcoplasmic muscle through hypertrophy. Yeah, it'll draw glycogen in there because your problem is you're eating a herbivore diet. You're not eating a pure carnivore diet.
IGF, partially through taking growth hormone, which converts to IGF, and partially through using IGF LR3. Yes, I've done IGF LR3 many times.
And how is that going to build mass on the myofibrillar if protein doesn't exceed that breakdown? See what I'm trying to explain to you? It's going to draw glycogen in there and create artificial muscle growth. That's why they have to stay on it. It's a cosmetic look, and it will go away. That's why it all goes away. You understand what I'm trying to explain to you? If you build real muscle through protein synthesis exceeds this breakdown, do you think it's just going to go away? It's just going to, like, snap, it's going to fade away? No. That's why they're always saying, oh, I pissed it all out. I pissed out my gains, or this, or it went. Or I put on 50 pounds and then a couple days later, it all went away. Where did it go? Or I gained 53 pounds of muscle because I ate 5 days a week, like Larry Wheels, 5 days straight at some buffet or some bullshit. At whatever buffet. And yeah, you think that's all muscle? His muscles absorbed? Do you think they absorbed? Do you think that they created proteins out of that? You crazy, man. You can't build muscle that kind of mass, 53 pounds, in 5 days. It's sarcoplasmic.
Yes, I've built a lot of permanent muscle that I still get to keep. And
okay, if you built permanent muscle that you can keep, then why are you still on drugs, Tony? You are taking every kind of drug in the book. We see you constantly injecting yourself. If you actually build real, if that shit could actually build real muscle, everybody would be doing it. And they wouldn't have to be on it like you 24 hours. So why don't you go off of it and show us the permanent gains that you actually gained, Tony? Prove to us, the world, that this drug, it's the magic miracle. It builds muscles out of breatharian diets, bro. Get it? Yeah, man, you're a fucking genius.
Low maintenance on it. And how do we know it works? Because we have transformation clients, many of them, and we've also checked people's blood work, and we notice when IGF levels are low, it's much harder for them to build muscle. When IGF levels are high,
in the world that you live in, the artificial world, it is easy to do it artificially. Eating an artificial diet, building artificial muscles, taking artificial injections of artificial hormones, and doing all these weird things. Yeah, you can definitely build an artificial look, a body. But you still, if you want to build something real, you still have to build it in the natural world, outside of the zoo that we live in, this unnatural habitat called cities. Yeah, bro, get it, man? That's how it works. Protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown. You need to get over the myonuclear domain size limit. You have to get over the repeated bout effect. You have to do very specific things. It's very specific training. People will not do it because it takes a rather high pain threshold to do that. And I can prove it. Look, if you go into NCBI, this is just a quick reference. Satellite cell, aging, use it or lose it. They explain to you right here. In response to injury, and that's the reason why the bar is so high. You understand me? You have to go through a pain threshold. In response to injury, satellite cells are able to activate satellite cells, because he said satellite cells, activate, re-enter the cell cycle, creating new cells to repair and create nascent muscle fibers while preserving a small population that can return to quiescence for future regenerative demands. So if that is how it's done, why the hell do you need this drug? If that's how it has to be done, regardless whether you take the drug or not. See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. Why do you need the drug if in response to injury, that's what causes the satellite cell to be able to activate, re-enter the cell cycle, split, divide, increase the number, differentiate, and all these kinds of things, creating new cells to repair and create nascent muscle fibers, new fibers, and all this kind of stuff. You understand me? It doesn't make any sense, bro. See what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. And protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown.
It's much easier for them to build muscle, similar to testosterone. If testosterone's low,
No, it will be easier for you to build sarcoplasmic artificial muscle growth. Definitely. Man, I've done so many videos on this.
low versus high, it's hard versus easy to build muscle. IGF, same thing. So imagine if your testosterone is high and your IGF is high, how much easier.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine if your testosterone IGF is so high? Can you imagine how much easier it is to build sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles? Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 Tony. Basically, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is a kind of artificial muscle growth. You train the muscle for no other reason than to visually increase its size by increasing the amount of fluid it can hold, but not increasing the density of the muscle. Bingo. So that's what you're building there.
Easier it is to build muscle. Caveat is, I noticed that some people can have
Testosterone does not build a muscle. Satellite cells and these cells that they create build muscles and protein. That's what builds muscle. The protein, these high nutrient protein diet, with the satellite cell donating these nuclei, and they synthesize protein, and you further that domain, so forth and so on.
have low IGF, but their IGF is still very effective. So there is a receptor sense.
I have pictures to prove what I look like. I reached a level of 85 pounds by consistently injuring these muscle fibers like I showed you here. By consistently injuring them and getting the satellite cell to activate. And by going and eating consistently by eating a lot of protein, because if muscle is going to gain mass, protein synthesis must exceed that breakdown. And I did it. That's a two-part. That is a lot of work. That is a lot of pain, which people, a pain threshold wherein people would not go through that. That's why they take a shortcut and build fake muscles and watch. And that's why these channels are so popular, like Tony Huge Biohacking. My channel can never be popular with any of you. That is the reason, even though my old channel, it got terminated by YouTube. I'm glad it got terminated. You want to know why? Because it was a test to see if people truly wanted to do it real, and nobody wants to do real. Everybody wants to fake it and pretend that it's real and convince you that they created something real doing something artificial fake.
Sensitivity to IGF, so someone could be either more sensitive or less sensitive to IGF. It could work better for some people than other people, and I'll get more into that probably later. Also, the mass blast transformations, where we put on more muscle than ever documented before in human history, especially on...
Yeah, I have a video. I had videos where I did sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. Yeah, within 4 weeks, I put on like 20 pounds of fake artificial muscles. Yeah, by eating bowls of potatoes. And I looked massive, almost like an open bodybuilder within 4 weeks, because I gained an extra 20 pounds on top of the weight that I'm already carrying. Usually I walk around at a weight of 240, maybe 245. You understand me? So I went up over 260. And so what? And so what? And I did it without drugs. I did it just eating bowls of potato, loading glycogen in my muscle, creating artificial sarcoplasmic muscles. You understand me, man? This is stupid.
Beginners, but also competitive bodybuilders.
Again, that takes a lot of work to eat a lot of that potato, to load that glycogen in there. Again, you have to go through a pain threshold. Doing that is nasty. I hate eating potatoes and eating that amount of potatoes and doing that to try to build these fake muscles. It's crazy to go through that. But like I said, people, they're cheap.
We blast them with things like growth hormone, insulin, and IGF. Well, IGF is a very important component of it, because the point of the mass blast is not muscle hypertrophy. It's to build permanent new muscle. It's a short period of time.
No, you're not going to build permanent muscle unless you go through a threshold of injuring those muscle fibers. They got to be injured. If they're not injured, you ain't going to grow no permanent muscle whatsoever. And the mass isn't totally permanent either. Look, the cells themselves may be permanent, but they're microscopic. The mass itself, well, it could be there. You still have to maintain it eating. But again, it can shrink. You can lose this mass. So is mass permanent? No. It's protein buildup on the myofibrillar. That's why building real muscle is complex. It's difficult, and people won't go through it.
To build as much permanent muscle as possible, so that afterwards the physique becomes lower maintenance because you have a lot more muscle cells. I have a lot more muscle cells because I went through this threshold way long time ago, over something 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. The point is, because I wanted permanent muscle, just like he said, so there's less maintenance. But when you offset it, you'll see how much mass you lose if you totally disregard eating to keep that enough of that mass on there. So yeah, it gets to a level and you're like, wow, I lost 40. I'm up 285, but now I'm back to 245. You're not back down to 200, but you're around 245, which is not bad. I would say, does it require a lot of maintenance? No, you can eat 3 meals a day and it'll still be there. You'll be fine. You understand me? Again. And the immediate effects can be felt. So when we use IGF, we can feel it actually working. The muscles are more anabolic.
No, they're not more anabolic. They're actually grabbing more of this glycogen in an energy source in the muscle. Try and do that on a pure carnivore diet then, if that's true. Do it.
Feel it in the muscle pumps and the responsiveness and the rate.
Again, that just proved to me when he said the muscle pumps. The moment he said muscle pumps, you don't get pumped on a carnivore diet, on a protein diet. It's impossible.
At which the muscles recover, as well as the nutrient partitioning benefits, that we can eat more calories, and we notice it doesn't store into fat.
What type of calories? And they're not. It's not storing the fat because it's a cutting drug. It does something specific to keep the triglyceride down. That's totally separate.
Stores into muscle when IGF levels are high, and
No,
also
it's not going to turn into muscle. Not on a breatharian diet, Tony. And not if protein synthesis doesn't exceed that breakdown. Again, you still need to do it in the natural world to build real muscle.
So, of course, clinical studies and basic biology. Of course, IGF works. We know.
You have the wrong biology, and I don't know what kind of shit you've been reading. Boy, I got a lot of stuff on my old channel before it was terminated. I had lots of stuff talking about satellite cell, this and that. I'm starting to repost them on my new channel. I haven't posted them all. There's some there. I have to look for them. You understand me? But I have sufficient enough to prove what I need. I don't need any more to prove what I say.
It hits the IGF receptor, which then builds muscle. Like, this is absolute fact. This is.
It hits the IGF1 muscle that builds muscle. That the receptor builds muscle. Bro, this is fake, bro. This is fake, man. Look. He says that it's going to hit the receptor and build muscle, but the myocytic androgen receptor controls strength, but not the mass of the limb muscles. But he says that it's going to hit the receptor and build muscles, but they're telling you that that receptor is not responsible for the mass of the limb muscles. You understand me? It's responsible for that strength, that force production. They bind, they're giving you a force production. This guy's crazy. Again, what controls the mass of the limb muscles? Oh man, satellite cells control that, the nuclei, because they synthesize protein, and protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. They control the mass of the limb muscles. Yeah, man. What the hell is he talking about?
This is not theory. This is not some, chemical. We don't know whether it works or doesn't. We absolutely know based on biology.
It's theory. It's fake. Man.
And clinical studies that it works. Now, how does it work? How does IGF-LR3 work, which is the...
Think about it. These burn victims, they were burned. And they gave them 36 eggs a day to keep them in what? An anabolic growth state. And what happened? They healed rapidly. Why did they heal rapidly? Because their body was no longer breaking down. It was building the entire time. They shut off the catabolic hormone. And that catabolic hormone converted to an androgen, so it didn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. That is the whole point. And you're shutting off myostatin, the myostatin hormone. So your body is in constant growth. That's how you really build muscle. Protein synthesis exceeds this breakdown. That catabolic hormone is shut off. It converts to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. So there's no breakdown. There's a constant building effect, and it will keep going as long as that protein exceeds that breakdown. You understand me? When you come in the gym, you're building. When you leave the gym, you're building. When you go to sleep, you're building. It has to be consistent. Otherwise, it won't happen. There'll be a breakdown.
Same as how IGF works. It increases muscle growth and repair, and it activates satellite cells. This is the most important part.
It activates, exercise can activate a satellite cell and make it just proliferate. But how do you make it differentiate, divide, split, divide, increase in number? It's got to go through a specific thing called injury, and not just a wearing out damage. Like, I'm damaging my muscles by going to the gym, wearing them out. No, it has to go through a phase of injury. You have to actually injure muscles, and they don't injure chronically in a gym. Otherwise, you'd get rhabdo and die in a stupor in a hospital.
So obviously builds muscle and recover faster, but more importantly, IGF...
Yeah, satellite cells build muscle. I don't know about recovering, this so-called recovering faster. It has to go through a time course of a week to 10 days, up to 14 days to repair and then remodel itself. Now, if you're consistent in an anabolic growth state, I guarantee in 7 days you'll be repaired and remodeled, and you can come back and hit it again. It'll work consistently.
IGF-1 is critical for activating satellites.
But you can get an apoptosis if you're not eating enough, even if you are taking a hormone. Maybe there's a preservation there, but you'll still get an apoptosis. You can lose muscle fibers. They can die if they're not in an anabolic growth state at that point. if you're causing these injuries to these fibers, because they got to clean up the dead tissue. These cells have to come out and build new cells, and then they get masked up and so forth and so on.
Cells, which are a type of stem cells located on the outside of muscle fibers. These cells are normally inactive but can be stimulated to enter the active state in response to muscle damage or growth signals like IGF.
Yeah, they could be stimulated in muscle damage, but not all damages are the same. So let's say I get oxidative damage. Let's say I go to the gym, I lift a bunch of weight, and I get oxidative damage. Okay, how should I put it? There's another word I'm looking for. It's not just oxidative, hypoxia. Hypoxic damage, oxidative hypoxia damage in my muscles. That's the damage you're getting in the gym, lifting chronically. That will activate the satellite cell definitely, but you'll shorten that pool. You'll shorten that pool because that's not renewing the satellite cell pool. The injuries activating, splitting, dividing will increase that satellite cell pool. But consistently going there, getting oxidative stress, hypoxia, will actually lessen the satellite cell pool. You'll lose these stem cells slowly over time. And yes, they come out of quiescence. Two ways they can come out of quiescence. It's through muscle damage. But again, if you get muscle injury and you get hypoxia, this hypoxic injury in the muscle, are they both the same? No, they're not the same. But we do know that satellite cells come out and they can build muscle. But they can also repair. You can also just get a repair of damage through hypoxia. You understand me? Coming into the gym and oxidative stress. Yeah, that isn't going to get you muscle. But there is a window for protein synthesis, definitely, for protein synthesis, because proteins are building up and breaking down. Never mind the other stuff. And so, again, it'll reach a ceiling limit during myonuclear domain size limit. It'll reach a ceiling limit wherein the progenitor satellite cell can no longer donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further growth. So even if you were to get this mass, how do you, look, you bypass that myonuclear domain the very first time you come to the gym because it stopped at the age of 15. So you come to the gym, you're untrained, you get an influx of these satellite cells, they donate their nuclei, boom, you bypass it by getting these injuries in the muscle fiber. They get structural injuries. Now they get stronger. They're stronger, they're protected by the repeated bout effect, they're not getting injured anymore. So you're like, well, I'm going to come into the gym, I'm going to damage my muscles, I'm damaging my muscles. You definitely are damaging your muscles, but it isn't the kind of damage that you're thinking that will cause the satellite cell to split, divide, and increase in number. See, that type of damage is associated with DOMS. You understand me? A delayed onset muscle soreness. Now, if you're getting sore in the gym lifting chronic, if you're coming in chronically, which you can't get injuries to muscle chronically because they're protected from doing that. So you come in chronically and you're lifting, you're damaging your muscles through hypoxia. Get it? Oxidative stress. Yeah. And it's just circulating and you're losing them over time. That isn't increasing you're not increasing the satellite cell pool, like it said there, for future regenerative purposes. That's why Tony gets this all wrong. To be a real master at this, you have to know that, well, I'm chronically lifting. What kind of soreness am I getting? Well, I'm getting sore after my workout. Well, that isn't an activation of the satellite cells to split and divide, increase in number. It's the DOMS that is associated with injury. It's the soreness and the fatigue that is associated with chronic lifters. You understand me? And getting hypoxia and oxidative stress, causing this satellite cell pool to shrink, is what you're doing over time. Yeah.
One. And the combination of both, of course, which I'll get into with the synergistic anabolic pathways of the weight training plus the IGF will activate as many of those satellite.
The synergistic anabolic pathways. Well, think about this. If protein synthesis exceeds that breakdown, there's no more breakdown. You're obviously anabolic, right? You're anabolic now. You're not breaking down protein, so you're anabolic. You're actually in a growth state. You shut off the catabolic hormone, and you've suppressed myostatin hormone. So what do you need to worry about? Why do you need steroids now? Why do you need steroids? Because they give you a nice polished look on the outside, these anabolics. You may want to take anabolics to give you that nice ripped look. That is totally different. But you can still create it natural. It just takes a lot more work you have to put into it and naturally to have something real.
Cells on the outside of the muscle to pull into the muscle to add their nucleus to the muscle or become new muscle cells. Differentiation and fusion. Once activated, satellite cells begin to proliferate, which is multiply, and differentiate, which is
when they activate, differentiate, they don't do that in exercise. They do that when muscle is injured. See that?
transform into mature muscle cells. The new muscle cells.
Yeah, they transform into new muscle cells. And you know how they do that? And this is just one report. I can bring out many. Bro, I'm not going to keep popping out stuff here left and right. I just want to show you what it says. All right? It says here, in response to injury, satellite cells are able to activate and re-enter the cell cycle, creating new cells to repair and create nascent muscle fibers while preserving a small population buffer for future regenerative demands. But in exercise, you're shrinking the regenerative demands. You're shrinking it by getting it to come out and repair a hypoxia damage and oxidative. This type of training in response to injury, it doesn't happen often. It happens periodically. I'll explain how. They'll tell you here at the bottom. Look, it says this review examines how periodic activation and cycling of satellite cells through exercise can mitigate senescent acquisition and myogenic decline. That's how you mitigate senescence and myogenic decline. You don't come to a gym to mitigate senescence acquisition and myogenic decline. To increase myogenic decline, you have to go through an injury state. But they'll go on a decline if you keep exercising. That's why exercise ages you, accelerates aging, and it's bad for you. And you'll increase senescent cells exercising. But causing these injuries periodically, coming in periodically, you'll create this in response to injury. So there you go. So what he thinks he knows, he doesn't know anything.
Can either fuse with the existing damaged muscle cell fibers
They could fuse with those injured muscle fibers, those damaged, injured muscle fibers. That's what they do. They fuse with them. Yeah. Not with hypoxic muscles, not to oxidative stressed muscles or hypoxic muscles.
In the repair and increase in the size of the muscle fiber, or they can fuse together to form new muscle fibers, a process known as muscle hyperplasia. Signal transduction pathways. The IGF activates a pathway called the PI3KAKT signaling pathway, which causes protein synthesis and also protecting the muscle cells. Next,
it causes protein synthesis. I could tell you that people that come in lifting chronically are constantly looking for a window 24-hour protein synthesis. But in muscle injury damage, protein synthesis is extended for that entire week and blood levels are elevated. So that whole week, you're building muscles. You understand me? You're in the process of building muscles. So that protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown before you come in for the next cycle to cause these injuries to the muscle fibers, to keep building them bigger and stronger and getting permanent muscle fibers through creating more muscle cells. Yeah, that's it. How is that hard to understand?
Is protein synthesis and decreased muscle breakdown. So IGF1 stimulates protein synthesis, and also it's anti-catabolic and prevents muscle breakdown. All of those are not as unique to IGF. The unique thing to IGF...
It's anti-catabolic and prevents the breakdown? I don't know that. It's a hormone. It's synthetic. It may help preserve at some point your body from dying, you know what I mean? But I don't know about this whole breakdown thing, what he just said.
IGF is the satellite cell proliferation and the creation of new muscle cells. That's what I'm specifically looking for when I use IGF, in addition to the
About 90% or 99% of the people that go to the gym are chronic lifters, okay? They're in an adapted state and they're damaging their muscles frequently and they're proliferating the satellite cell all right, but that damage doesn't build muscle. That damage is oxidative and hypoxic, and they're only trying to open a window for protein synthesis, but they could never keep up with the protein synthesis because they don't realize that protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown to build muscle. So it can't be in waves or today yes, tomorrow no, or I'll wait a couple hours and I'll go to McDonald's and eat my meal, or I'm busy right now after my workout, I'll eat later in about an hour or two. It doesn't work like that, man. You see what I mean? And again, it reaches a ceiling limit during hypertrophy process to support further muscle growth, the satellite cell. So you have a lot of obstacles. You understand me? And this damage that he's talking about, this injury is protected by the repeated bout effect. That type of damage is protected by it, EIMD.
Nutrient partitioning when we're going very high in the calories, doing extreme bulkings, like when we do the mass blast. The side effects of IGF. These side effects are sometimes very rare, but should...
That's the thing. Is it worth it, the side effects, to do this artificially, what he wants to do, create artificial muscles and fake it, taking all these hormones and not doing it the proper way? Look, it's one thing to say, hey man, the satellite cell is going to differentiate, divide, increase the number, create fibers and create these cells. And yeah, okay, that's all really nice and cute and everything. Are you doing that? Are you getting that? How do you know you're doing that? What are the signs of that? What are the physical signs? What are the feeling of getting that? What are you looking for specifically to do that? See what I mean? This guy is out to lunch.
You should be aware of them, but I'm going to go through each side effect and tell you whether in reality I've actually seen these side effects because I've done so many.
He's got money. He could eat as much as he wants. He's not poor. He can literally build real muscle. But he prefers to fake it because it's easier. You understand me? And it's marketable, I guess. For him, it's marketable. He could be marketable if he has food. He can create a real body. And people would ask him, how'd you do it? Well, money. Money created my body. People always asked me in the past, they said, how did you create your body so big, bro? You're so fucking huge. And they're like, I go, money. Money created my body because I was able to eat as much as I want. That's the main ingredient, food. All the other stuff, the training for it is relative. You just need to understand the mechanics behind what you're looking for to create certain things. And then you shoot for that. That's your goal. But the major part to build your body, money, build your body, you need food. If you don't have food, you can't build your body. I'm sorry, man. It just is like that.
Hundreds of transformations, and I have so much data. Yes, you can read online that be careful of this side effect, but out of 100 transformations, maybe I never even saw it, so I'll go through each one. First one is hypoglycemia. IGF1 LR3 can lower blood sugar levels, leading to hypoglycemia, which...
Yeah, this is the side effects that you'll get by faking it, creating artificial muscles. You're going to go through all of this. It's crazy.
is characterized by symptoms like dizziness, sweating, confusion, and shakiness. Well, hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, means you didn't eat enough calories. If you're not eating enough calories, why are you using IGF? IGF, to me, is only for use when we're trying to put on a lot of muscle, and you're not going to put on a lot of muscle.
Is this worth it, putting on a lot of fake artificial muscle? Again, I love how he throws it around. I'm putting on a lot of muscle. What type of muscle? They never give reference as to what type it is, what it's like. Look, if you're putting on sarcoplasmic, if you're getting a pump in the gym and you're eating carbohydrates, you'll know this is sarcoplasmic muscle. It's very simple. There's no pain behind pumping glycogen in your muscle, creating artificial muscle growth through sarcoplasmic muscle. There's no pain threshold, nothing. You may get more energy, something, whatever, pushing you to lift more weights, maybe a heavier weight, and you keep thinking the heavy weight is causing the muscle to grow, when in fact it's the glycogen. You're just pumping more glycogen. Now, you still have a window for protein synthesis. Your problem is you're not exceeding that breakdown with protein because the difficulty in it, you don't want to eat that much protein. You don't want to be in an anabolic growth state, and you don't want to be consistently full and bloated all the time, like full, your belly full with all this protein, with all this meat and stuff, whatever. You just don't want it because it's painful. I don't know, it's uncomfortable. Let's just put it that way. And you definitely are injuring muscle fibers because they can't get injured all the time. And if they were, you'd be uncomfortable because, again, you guys associate DOMS with being something bad. And so you run away from it. You run away from anything that gives you true pain, that will give you the true things that you want. In other words, you keep thinking you're lazy. It's painful for you to go out there and actually make money, but it's actually easier for you to go to your slave job and they'll give you a paycheck. It'll be coming. You'll know it'll be coming next week. But going out there and trying to make it, it's too painful. It's painful in the beginning. Everything is. But eventually, when you reach there, the pinnacle, you now have something because you shot for that. You worked for it. And now you have it. You understand me? Once you get rich, money makes money. Once you build your body big and strong with muscle, you'll always have it. Like he said, building these cells, you'll always have it permanent. His whole goal is to try to get permanent muscle, but he's got it all backward. That's why he's never going to make it.
Unless you're also eating a lot of calories. You could use IGF for fat loss. It does.
No, it's not. You're eating a lot of calories. Protein synthesis must exceed that breakdown if you're going to see mass on that myofibrillar.
Burn fat, and it does prevent fat gain, but I think it's better to use it for muscle building and for using...
Being in an anabolic growth state, eating a lot of protein, you will not put on fat. You understand me? You'll keep the fat that you already have. That's not going to burn away. But you won't build fat if protein synthesis exceeds this breakdown. You understand me? Yeah. You could put on you wouldn't put on any fat because the amount of energy that is required to repair and remodel these fucking injured fibers is a lot. So even if you were to add a little bit of, let's say, potato, some glycogen in there, and you were using it as somewhat of a little bit of an energy source, yeah, I don't know. It would burn. It would burn eventually. It would burn. And you'd be still left over with real muscle.
Muscle building, then why would we ever go hypoglycemic unless we weren't eating? And then if we're not eating, why would we take IGF? So to me, that side effect is a non-issue. Next is acromegaly. Long-term use can lead to abnormal growth of hands and feet and facial features, commonly known as acromegaly.
Yeah, why would you want to go through that? You want to deform yourself? Because it's a toxin. These things that you're taking, they're artificial. They're made from plants. So if they're made from plants, they're toxic. They have toxins. So now you're directly injecting these toxins in your DNA. You will get permanent gains, all right, in damage. And that damage will be permanent. Those type of damages. Because one guy says to me, yeah, you get permanent stuff or something. Yeah, you get permanent, all right, permanent damage, bro, and brain damage.
Due to the overstimulation of the growth process. I've seen a lot of guys that have acromegaly.
Because it's the wrong kind of growth. That's the problem.
Mutated their face and their hands, and you shake their hands are just gigantic and thick, and their feet grow and their shoe size increases. And in my experience, this is not due solely to the IGF. You see,
that is a mutation, man, that is happening there. That is a mutation, bro, I'm telling you.
HGH also causes growth.
Here's another thing. Your dick is going to shrink and so are your testicles taking these drugs. And it'll be permanent. You'll never be able to get your testicles to come back. And neither will your penis. So yeah. Maybe you'll turn into transgender. Who knows?
Growth in muscle, but other parts of the body as well. And so can IGF. But IGF is a little bit more specific to growing muscle. So in my experience, people doing reasonable cycles of IGF gain a lot of permanent muscle, but they don't get that much.
Taking an injection of an IGF1 cannot grow you permanent muscle. It itself cannot grow you a permanent muscle. It does not create muscle cells. Satellite cells do. And they are only activated through injuries. They have to be injured. And it can't happen often. And it could go for a long time sometimes. It has to go through a repair and a remodeling phase. And that can take up to even, 2 weeks. Sometimes they say up to a month. Yeah, it all really is relative depending on what you're doing and how much you're eating, if you understand this. But he doesn't.
Acromegaly. What I do with my clients is I use a lower dosage of growth hormone and I add the IGF on top, and then I have less.
Like, this is a pure drug channel. Like, he's just convincing you that drugs are going to magically build a muscle just like Jack and the Beanstalk, bro. This is crazy.
HGH and IGF side effects by doing so. So I neutralize the acromegaly issue. However, it's not going to be neutralized completely because there is going to be some growth of the bones and other things. It just depends on the
growth in the bones. This is, yeah, it's a growth hormone. It's a hormone, growth hormone. There may be something going on there. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. IGF1. This is a mutation, man. It's going to mutate you. But I'd be very careful.
Dosage. We don't see this at low dosages for short cycles. We don't see any acromegaly. But as the dosages go higher for longer periods of time with more calories. Next is water retention. I don't see extreme water retention with IGF like I do with HGH. We avoid that by keeping...
God damn, man. There's so many side effects. Is it actually worth it doing it fake? Just to create a bunch of fake muscle? This is crazy.
The HGH level a little... but it's still a good thing. It's a process. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes that type of pain can be just caused by water retention, and...
Yeah, that's a great pain to go through, man. Like destroying yourself pain. The pain of destruction. You know, people love the pain of being unsuccessful. There's the pain of being successful, and then there's the pain of being unsuccessful. See, there was the pain of going into the gym, injuring the muscle fibers, and then that pain, and then the pain of protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown. But then there's the pain of failure. All these people going to the gym, chronically lifting, wearing out the satellite cell pool, shortening their lifespan, accelerated aging. Doing all this is the pain of unsuccess when your face looks really fucking old, man. And you fucked up your body and your joints lifting chronically, chasing artificial muscles because you wanted to go to the pain of being unsuccessful. And instead of doing it fucking successfully, like people, they love the pain of being doing unsuccessful shit, going to a factory and working for minimum wage, instead of going out there and hacking at the pain of success and making it in life. That is their problem. You understand me? Look, if you work hard, life will be easy. But if you take it easy, life will be very hard. You understand me? Yeah.
Swelling of around the neurons, like carpal tunnel, for example. All of that can be mitigated, and
And working hard is relative because you're going to say, well, these steroid guys, they still work hard. Yeah, they're working hard at being unsuccessful because it isn't. They're building success using this unsuccess to build a platform of success to get them money. That's totally different. People who are doing it for those purposes. That's why I say before, I know what they're doing is fake, and I'm pretty sure they know too. They eventually come to the realization that it's fake, but they're doing it for that success because they don't want the pain of that success going to a factory. So they rather suck it up and do this shit so that they can become successful in the slave world out here. You get it? Yeah, man. I don't know how to explain this, man. I suck at explaining stuff. I just know it in my mind, what I want to say. I know what it looks like. I can visualize it. But to actually, talk about it, explain it, sometimes it's difficult for me to bring it all out. But I'm trying. I'm trying, bro. Get it? I'm not a blogger.
Doesn't seem to be a very common problem with just IGF and reasonable HGH usage. That's more with the high HGH levels. Next.
It's like people staying with vegan diets. They know that vegan diet is unnatural. It's artificial. They know in the back of their mind, like people eating garbage food, fake food, they know that this is bad for them and everything, but they don't come to the realization, down the line what it will do to you. I know what it'll do to me. That's why I don't do it. They keep doing it, knowing it's bad for them, but not focusing on what will happen to them eventually down the line, eating garbage and shit, eating an artificial diet. See what I mean? It comes to the point where these vegans, they start losing their hair because the body's allocating now. You're running out of the reserves that you had built up originally when you were eating meat and stuff. The nutrients in your bone, skin, brain, everywhere, your hair. So it's allocating now to keep you alive because that's the body's job, to keep you alive. It would never make you sick and ever give you a disease. You are the cause of the disease. You are the disease. The body is not diseased. It is a well-oiled machine, working machine. But these people, they don't understand that. They want to destroy their bodies. Why would you want to destroy it? It makes absolutely no sense. You understand me? this pain is the pain of failure. It's crazy. It's out on the internet everywhere. Lifting a heavy weight, destroying my body. For what purpose? What did you get out of that? Getting good at lifting heavy? And what did you get? Did you get paid doing it? Did you make money? Absolutely not. Why not build your body big and strong? That's the question. You want to conquer the weights, but you don't want to conquer the body. I don't understand this. This is confusing. He wants to conquer the drugs to create all this fake shit and go through all of this bullshit. All of this bullshit for what? Nothing in the end will come of this. If anything, he'll shorten his lifespan and die. Get a heart attack or who knows what, and all these fucking side effects. It's just like people cooking. Oh, I need these pots and pans. I need to buy them. I need to cook my food. Then I need to get a plate. I need to wash it. I need soap. I need a fork and a knife. Meanwhile, all you had to do was open a pack, get an egg, crack it, throw it in a glass and drink it. You didn't have to cook any of that. And the meat, you just eat it raw. You just take a piece, you take it and you bite pieces off of it and you eat it and you swallow it and you move on. There's no cooking, there's no pots, no pans, but you love the pain of unsuccess, of wasting time and doing things that are unsuccessful. You get it? This world is built on that. They love it. See what I mean? Do it once real. You don't have to do it again.
Side effect to mitigate or be concerned about is headaches. I don't see a lot of headaches with IGF, but
Christ, he just had a whole list here. This is crazy.
we do. So, of course, we're messing with our hormones. And
yeah, it'll suppress your hormones and you'll be fucked for life.
lastly, decreased insulin one, thus remaining active in the body for a longer period of time. Function. Both IGF1 and IGF1 LR3, the higher the dosage that we take of IGF1 LR3, the faster we are going to desensitize to it. And this happens.
Desensitize, yeah. No, you rapidly adapt to steroids. They rapidly adapt, and then they stop working. And then you need to because of the repeated bout effect phenomena. With a repeated bout, there's a lessening effect. And so now you need to keep upping the dosages. That's why they say these bodybuilders are taking massive amounts of steroids or abusing it. No, because the last dosage adapted. Your body adapted to it. Why? Because it feels this is unnatural and it's killing the body. So it has to rapidly adapt to keep you alive. That's the whole point. But you keep injecting it with more and more and more. And it has to keep rapidly adapting to the point where you'll be dead. You die. Yeah, man. This is stupid. It's like poisoning yourself to death. Why would you poison yourself to death? Like vegans. They poison themselves with toxins and sugar. So they start poisoning themselves to death. And then they reach the realization that the poison now is starting to destroy them. Their hair's falling out, palpitations, energy's gone, the heart's hurting, all these weird things. My nails are falling out, my teeth are falling out. And they're like, oh, they wait till like the last minute when everything starts to completely collapse. By then, it's already too late. You can't reverse that type of damage. You understand me? If you lose your teeth, how are you going to reverse that? Your hair falls out, how will you reverse that? Your nails, you get kidney, liver damage, kidney damage, organ damage and shit, heart damage. How will you fix that problem now? See what I mean? This is stupid shit, bro. Get it? Man, this is incredible. Anyways, tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel, bro. It helps the algorithm. I don't know what else to say there. Tony Hughes.
With most hormones in the body, I keep my body low maintenance, but I keep it in really great shape, and I do that.
Yeah, low maintenance, great shape. Yeah, it's great shape. It's a fake. He's not in great shape. It's artificial. It's fake. It's fuck me, man.
By just doing a mass blast day once in a while that includes IG.
Yeah, mass blast once in a while. I thought you said you created permanent muscle. That you don't need to do any of these things. Liar.
F1 LR3. IGF1 activates. So you want to.
I'm not saying he shouldn't have the freedom to poison himself. Everybody has the freedom. They go to the liquor store, poison themselves. The question is, why would you want to poison your body? Buying liquor, putting poison in there, smoking marijuana, injecting these hormones and everything. I gotta put more poison in my body. See how it reacts. See what happens. See if it dies. Let me see if it dies a little faster if I drink more alcohol. Maybe if I do fentanyl, maybe. Let's see if that will keep it alive. Yeah, sure. Let's see if that will make it die faster. All of these people are doing all these weird things to see if their body can handle it and when will it die. And then when it comes to the point where they're taken out in a fucking wheelchair or in a gurney to like the hospital, they're in like Alex Eubank and all these other people, they're all like, oh my God, I'm in ER now. I'm in the hospital. Oh, I had this whatever. Yeah, because they push it to the limit of the body. They want to see whether it will die or not. That's insane, bro. I'm telling you, man. These people have to go see a psychiatrist, psychologist, somebody because they need to seek help. They're suffering from mental problems. I'll see you in the next one. Tell me what you think about that, friends. I gotta go. This is too much.
Is by breaking them down and pushing their limits, training beyond failure, especially with IGF, doing some heavyweight negatives, and then also some high repetition burnout sets, both of which have advantages when working with IGF. So I'd prefer clients to do both types.
Yeah, do this burnout, do this, that, boom, ba, yeah. I gotta do burnouts and everything and high reps, this, that, because I need more hypoxia and oxidative stress in my body because I want to accelerate aging and destroy my organs and my body by doing this. Yes, you can do that too. That's another way of destroying yourself faster. Yes, let's just all do that. Yes.
Of exercise to get both types of stimulation on the muscle.
Yeah.
Lastly, we're going to go over manage inflammation. You want to create inflammation in the muscle, and you don't want inflammation in the rest of the body. So you got
that's what people are chasing chronically going to the gym: lactic acid, inflammation, loading, unloading, and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy because it's easy.
to keep systemic inflammation down. We can do that by taking fish oil and another number of other.
So you want to keep that inflammation down. Oh, well then your body won't repair that oxidative damage and everything. If you keep inflammation down, it's going through repair. Everybody knows you'll inhibit it and it'll take longer for you to recover.
Different health supplements, food sensitive.
So you can come back and hit it again in the gym and destroy your body faster than the last time by lifting a heavy weight and pretending you're building muscles. Yes, let's all pretend. I'll see you in the next one, friends. I gotta go. This is hilarious. See you in the next one. Like, subscribe, support channel. You know what I mean, man. It helps the algorithm, bro. But I know nobody will even if I am helping people, they won't subscribe because they just can't handle the truth. See you later, friends.